Today is my last day here in London, and we've seen pretty much all the major landmarks here in the past few days. So our plan today is to see some of the local spots most people don't know about the city, starting with a place called Notting Hill, and we had to take the subway or the tube to get there. I have to admit, the only reason why we're going to Notting Hill is simply just because of the movie, that's it. But after doing a little research about this place, I found out that Notting Hill once had a reputation of wealth and fashion. The district is known for its large Victorian houses and some high-end shopping stores and restaurants. They even have this historic looking church. It's called St. John's Notting Hill, but what I really want to see is that famous bookstore and the blue door from the movie. And it's somewhere here at the Portobello Road Market. The Portobello Road Market is a straight road lined up on both sides with antique stores and all kinds of shops from clothes to produce and restaurants. But what it's really known for are the antiques. So if you're really into old stuff, you definitely have to come here.
Do you know where it is? I'm looking for the bookstore.
I actually thought that was the blue door, but it turns out it wasn't. After I asked around for the location of the door and the bookshop, we finally found it. It's not really a bookshop anymore. Whoever owns the place turned it into a souvenir shop instead. I kinda wish they kept it the way it was, but it doesn't matter, I'm still going to check it out, and maybe buy a few stuff as well. So after getting a few souvenirs, we headed out to see the blue door. They said it's just around the corner here somewhere next to a Starbucks.
It's right there. That's the blue door.
I guess you'll only understand my fascination about this if you've seen the movie. Anyway, it's not an apartment anymore. Somebody told me it's a travel agency now. After I got that out of the way, it's time to have breakfast. You know, before I came here in London, I was looking into local food and restaurants and came across this place. It's called Honest Burgers. It's a local fast food restaurant here in England where they get fresh beef straight from the butchery. They also cut and cook their homemade rosemary fries daily and serve local beers from breweries within the community. Unfortunately, this restaurant is still closed, so we ended up here instead. We'll have to find another Honest Burger restaurant later, maybe for lunch. So right here is a full English breakfast. The typical full English breakfast includes eggs, bacon, sausages, and coffee or tea. This plate, as you can see, has 2 sunny side up eggs, mushrooms, bacon, half a tomato, a bowl of pork and beans, a pair of toasted bread, and 1 sausage. That seems a lot, but to be honest, I don't think it's enough. I've never had a full English breakfast before, so hearing a full English breakfast, we were expecting a lot of food, but this will do.
Alright, let's start. Oh my god, it's melted already. Oh shit. The butter's all melted. Yes. Put all the butter in there. Come on, bread. Getting some of the butter. Some bread. Some bacon in there.
You'll never go wrong with eggs and bacon for breakfast. Then add some toast with butter and mushrooms. How could this go wrong? I haven't even gotten to the sausage and pork and beans yet.
Egg, it's not running.
Okay, I take it back. I guess it could go wrong. I don't know what's going on here, but this is the second time I had eggs here that should have been runny, but it wasn't. It's either they overcook the eggs here, or I'm just not lucky.
Sausage here.
Now, this sausage looks better than the one I had at the pub yesterday. It's a bit juicy, and the outer skin is nice and crisp.
What kind of sausage is this?
Lincolnshire.
Lincolnshire sausage are local here in England and widely available at butchers and supermarkets. It's basically made of pork mixed with sage and probably other spices as well. It's crunchy and a little dry, like the one I had yesterday. It lacks that sausage flavor I'm looking for. I would say it's very plain.
Pork and beans. It just tastes like pork and beans. Like in a can.
It's not that I didn't like the full English breakfast. I actually think the combination is perfect. It's just that I wish the plate had more food, especially if it's breakfast. I mean, all in all, it's not bad. I just had way better types of breakfast compared to this. So after eating breakfast, we made our way to Kensington Palace. Considering it's pretty close to Notting Hill, it was still quite a walk. But we didn't mind it because seeing all this makes up for it.
Prince William's house, somewhere here.
Of course, what I'm talking about here is the Kensington Palace, which is, by the way, is not there. It's actually a little more down the road. I mentioned Prince William because it's where both him and his wife, Princess Kate, officially lives together.
Yeah, this is the palace. No?
I don't know.
Okay, I think this is the palace.
Kensington Palace has been a residence of the royal family since the 17th century. Like all historical places here in London, this place is rich with history. It was built in 1605, then was purchased by the first Earl of Nottingham in 1619. It was only in 1689 when King William III bought the palace, where then it became a residence of the British monarch. Many members of the British royal family lived here throughout the years, and today it's William and Kate, and a few dukes and duchesses that resides here.
That's the palace behind me.
With its massive gardens and a pond, the staterooms inside the palace are open to the public. You can take a tour inside the palace for about $25, and out here it's free. We didn't go inside the palace, we decided to explore the gardens instead. Right here is a statue of Queen Victoria, which sits right in front of the palace. But what's amazing about this statue is that it was sculpted by Queen Victoria's own daughter, Princess Louise, who I found out was a sculptor and an artist. She actually has several major sculptures that still remains to this day. The Kensington Garden, as you can see, is massive. It's about 242 acres of land built with the Serpentine boating lake, the boardwalk, and a round pond. It stretches all the way to Hyde Park, which interconnects each other.
Wanna go to the pond? Let's go to the pond. Yeah?
This round pond was created in 1730 by King George II. It's about 7 acres, measuring approximately 660 by 490 feet, and it's 16 feet deep. It is the home of the Model Yacht Sailing Association and the London Model Yacht Club. But today, it's the swans and geese that rules this pond.
Hello? Waiting. It's like walking with me. Come on, boy. Come on, to make it. Come on.
I can only imagine how amazing it is to wake up in the morning and look through the window and see this. Well, minus all of us walking around here.
So this statue is called Physical Energy.
So just a few yards from the palace, as we made our way to Hyde Park, you'll see this statue. I didn't get it at first, but this bronze statue is by George Frederick Watts. He intended this statue to signify the human need for new challenges.
If we go straight ahead, there's nothing there. But if you go here, it's Hyde Park.
Before you go to Hyde Park coming from Kensington Palace, you'll have to cross this lake called the Serpentine. This is a man-made lake created in 1730, which marks the boundary between Hyde Park and Kensington Gardens. They have used this lake as a venue for swimming events as well as boating.
It clearly says Hyde Park. Looks beautiful in the picture, but look at it now. This don't look like Hyde Park. Maybe if we go further down, it gets better. These guys are huge, man. If you get close to this, they'll probably kick me.
So Hyde Park is a major park in central London. It's the largest of all the royal parks. As I stand at the center of this mound called the Reformer's Tree and scan the park, let me tell you a brief history about this place. It was first established by King Henry VIII in 1536 and used it as his own personal hunting ground. It was only open to the public in 1637. Several demonstrations and duels took place here in the late 20th century. It also became a venue for live concerts as well. Today, it's probably the most famous and popular park in England where the locals come to relax and enjoy the sun.
Somewhere over here.
What I was referring to is the Joy of Life fountain. Why I was looking for it, I have no idea. It was recommended by this travel app I'm using. Anyway, as we stopped to look at these royal carriages, which was pretty cool in a way, we finally found the fountain.
I guess this is the Fountain of Joy.
Funny story about this thing. Since there are no signs or a plaque, I asked the guy sitting on a bench if this was the Joy of Life fountain. He looked at me all suspiciously and said, I have no idea what you're talking about. What's funny is that he's clearly a local here, and he said he comes here every day not knowing what this fountain is called. Well, as you can see, it's really not that impressive, so I can't blame him. As we exited the park, our next stop is the Marble Arch. This arch was a white marble face structure designed in 1827. The purpose of this was originally to be the state entrance to the Buckingham Palace. As you can see, it's nowhere close to the palace because they relocated it here, just across the street from Hyde Park. There's a lot of speculation regarding its relocation. One is that it's too narrow for the Queen's state coach to pass through. I mean, who really knows? I think they just didn't like it. Well, just a few blocks away from the arch is Selfridge. By the way, we're about to enter the shopping district of London. See, Selfridge is the second largest store in the whole country. Harrods is the largest one, which is on the other side of the city. But this store dates back in 1909. You can find pretty much anything shopping related here. I mean, like clothes, shoes, beauty products, jewelry, electronics, name it, I believe it's here. Thank God we both hate shopping because this place is located here in Oxford Street. If you didn't know, Oxford Street is Europe's busiest shopping street and has a number of major department stores as well as flagship stores. The street forms a connection with Regent Street, which will go after this, but if you're with someone who loves shopping, you'll never be able to leave this place. I'm not really sure if we're at the Regent Street, but this store is called Hamley's. It's the biggest toy store in the world. This store has 5 floors dedicated solely on toys. They also have various workshops for kids, movie screenings, and more. It's pretty much heaven for kids. You know, I'm pretty sure this is Regent Street. Regent Street is also a well-known shopping area here at the West End neighborhood of London. The street was named after King George IV, who served as a Prince Regent before he became king. This street has history, amazing architecture, and a lot of upscale shopping stores. So just around the corner from Regent Street, you'll see this. It's called the Piccadilly Circus. Interestingly, the name Piccadilly came from a tailor in the 1600s, famous for selling piccadillies, which are collars. And circus is from the Latin word circle, because this place is basically a circle connected by streets.
I'm in the center of Piccadilly Circus.
That fountain right there is called the Shaftesbury Memorial. As you can see, it's right in the center of Piccadilly Circus, surrounded by the London Pavilion, several retail stores and restaurants, the iconic video advertising signs, and the Criterion Theatre on this side that leads us to the most famous district in London, which is Soho. Soho is an area in the city of Westminster, which is part of London's West End. It was first developed by King Henry VIII in 1536 until buildings started coming up for the upper class in the 1680s. Now it's predominantly a fashion district filled with restaurants, media offices, and entertainment.
You missed it.
Even though we missed that food market along the way, it's okay. We actually came here for just one reason alone, to have lunch at Honest Burgers. Yeah, the burger restaurant that we were supposed to have breakfast in Notting Hill earlier this morning. Well, I found another one in this area, so we're gonna have lunch right now. It took us a while to get here, but thinking about the fresh beef straight from the butchers they boast about in this restaurant, we just have to try it. Like I mentioned earlier, the beer they serve here are from local breweries in the neighborhood. This one was recommended by our server, who by the way is awesome. So this is the Honest Burger. It's fresh local beef with smoked bacon, cheddar, red onion relish, pickles and lettuce with a side of rosemary salted chips or fries. Oh, and a complimentary side of onion rings that our server gave us. You know what, now that I'm looking at this, how that beef is slowly dripping juice on that cheese. I kinda wish we ordered 2 of this, but instead we decided to order 1 double Honest Burger and split it. Just looking at this burger, you can see how juicy it is, especially when she starts cutting through it. You know, I'm not sure if that's from the beef or from the oil they cooked it in, but this burger is really juicy. The burger, I have to say, is really good. You can just tell the meat is fresh and seasoned perfectly. The bacon also adds more flavor and a nice crunch to it. Everything about this burger in regards to taste is amazing, but it's just way too greasy for me. Come to think of it, I think this is the greasiest burger I've ever had in my life. Well, you know, if I didn't mind the grease, this burger would have been perfect. I don't normally put mayo on my fries. I always have it with ketchup. I'm not really sure what possessed me to do that. The fries were pretty good. It's actually the first time I've had it with rosemary. And the onion rings. You know, I just love onion rings, but somehow it almost always gives me heartburn. This one was nice and crunchy, but a bit oily. Definitely a prerequisite for a heartburn. So after I wolfed this burger down like a hungry animal, we made our way to London's Chinatown. I think almost every major city in the world has a Chinatown, but according to the travel app I'm using, during the Chinese New Year, this Chinatown has the largest celebration for this event outside Asia. Well, physically being here, it doesn't feel big. It's just a small area here at the east end of London, but this place has more than 80 restaurants. And majority of them, of course, serves authentic Chinese and Asian cuisine. But 80 restaurants? Now that's a lot to choose from. I wonder what we can eat here. One thing I noticed here, despite having more than 80 restaurants, almost everywhere you look, you'll see ducks hanging behind windows.
Look at that. That's like pork. I know, they have it here. So just like Chinese restaurants everywhere. Yep, ducks everywhere here. Let's see what this is. That's like Japanese stuff, dude. That's not Chinese. Oh, Japanese. Look at this. What is he making? Whoa. Is this Chinese? Yeah, it is Chinese. It is Japanese, right? I'm confused, man.
We ended up not eating anything here because we're still full from that burger, so we decided to go to our next destination instead. Not far from Chinatown, just a few blocks away, is Neil's Yard. Neil's Yard is a small alley which opens into a courtyard. They named this place after Thomas Neil, who was a developer in the 17th century. And it was only in 1976 when a guy by the name of Nicholas Saunders started a whole food warehouse, which slowly formed a chain of shops and cafes promoting healthy foods. And the most prominent shop here is this, the Neil's Yard Remedies, which offers organic natural health and beauty products. We didn't stay here too long, we just rested our feet from all this walking. But now we had to make a decision whether to go to the British Museum or the Covent Garden Market. And since we wanted to try some English tea, we went here to the Covent Garden Market instead. The Covent Garden Market started in 1654 when traders set up stalls selling fruits and vegetables. Then in 1830, Charles Fowler designed this market building. Although I didn't see any fruits and vegetable stands here, this market is full of cafes, shops, and restaurants. And we're here just to have some English tea and maybe a pie or some kind of pastry. You know, I don't really remember what this is. All I know is that this is some kind of an apple dessert pastry. The guy in the cafe says it's really good with English tea, so...
Ooh, English tea. Yeah.
I'm not really a tea or coffee drinker. I would only drink tea to calm my stomach down, and I usually drink just green tea. So basically, I don't really know anything about tea. All I know is that this one only becomes English tea once you add some milk to it, I think.
Okay, go ahead.
Do you make your choice?
Go ahead.
A little bit.
Anyway, hold on.
Okay, do it again.
That's okay. That's okay.
You don't want any milk?
No, it actually looks like this. I missed it when she poured it in. But that's your English tea right there.
One thing also is that I don't drink milk. I just don't like it. So I guess technically, I'm not going to drink English tea today. I'll be drinking just regular tea, I guess.
I'm gonna try this, guy. Camera. Ooh, look at this. Oh wow. This is good. I don't know what this is. Some kind of cream.
England is known for drinking tea. Its popularity actually happened between the 17th and 19th century due to its reputation to cure a wide array of ailments. But I think they started drinking tea mostly to define respectability and social status. Well, whatever it is, tea remains to be a popular drink in England, and it's an important part of the British identity.
That's it. They put a lot of milk there. Stir it. Oh yeah.
Since we were leaving for Spain tomorrow, we decided to have dinner close to our hotel because we needed to pack our stuff. And as we were about to enter the tube or the subway at the Charing Cross station, I saw this and thought it must be something historical. Turns out it is. It's called the Eleanor's Cross. It's a 145-year-old monument. It's actually a replica of a 13th century structure built by King Edward I in memory of his wife Eleanor.
So we're gonna eat here at the Dolphin Bar and Grill.
I spotted this restaurant a few days ago. We never really planned to eat here, we just couldn't find anything closer to our hotel. As we were looking for the restaurant, we realized that it's inside the hotel, or apartments as they call it. But we had no choice at this point but to eat here, because we're just too tired to look for another restaurant. Right away, just as I saw this smoked salmon, we realized that this is somewhat of a gourmet restaurant. I'm not really that interested in fancy or gourmet restaurants. I find it a bit pretentious, to be honest. Okay, maybe I'm just not that sophisticated, but this is smoked salmon with some kind of pancake surrounded with little garnishes of roe, leaves, and what looks like pickle. I'm not sure. I actually know a thing or two about wine. I used to drink a bottle of wine every day after work, just to learn about it. This actually reminds me of the best smoked salmon I've ever had, which was in a ferry boat going from Germany to Denmark. I remember that because this salmon doesn't have the same flavor. It's almost bland. So after a refill of more wine, we finally got our food. What I have here is a pan-fried sea bass fillet, served with sauteed potatoes, roasted leeks, and a white wine cream sauce, garnished with leaves. It actually looks good. You know, I really didn't expect much coming here. We just wanted to eat somewhere close to our hotel. But I'm not lying when I say this. This sea bass is so amazing, it might be the best fish I've ever had in my life. Who knows, it could be the way it's cooked. Well, the seasoning, the crispiness of the skin, the whole thing is absolutely cooked to perfection. It could do without all the other things on this plate, just the fish alone will do. But combining the fish with the roasted leeks, the potatoes, and the white cream sauce just elevates this dish even more. I usually complain about the portion of my food because for me, the more the better. But somehow this made me understand the term less is more. I mean, when you have an amazing dish like this, you just don't want to overdo it. You don't want to get tired of the flavor. So by having the right amount of food on your plate, it forces you to remember every single bite. Now to try the mushroom tagliatelle. This dish is mixed wild mushrooms, enriched umami, garlic, black pepper, and cream sauce. I'm not really sure what umami is, but mushrooms are one of my favorites. Doesn't matter what type it is, anything with mushroom, I'll probably eat. I usually have some type of protein with pasta, so this is something new to me. It's really hard to appreciate anything else after tasting the sea bass. I'm trying really hard to remember what this tastes like, and all I can think of is the bitter flavor it had. It's not a bad flavor, it's just different. It worked well with the sauce and all, but the pan-fried sea bass, if I think really hard, I could still taste it in my mouth. So for dessert, we decided to split this blueberry cheesecake.
That's a big flower.
You know, we ended up staying here until they closed, because we really enjoyed the food here. Well, it could be that second bottle of wine. But our stay here in London is over. We were able to see all the major landmarks, and quite a few local ones as well. We've managed to accomplish everything on our list in less than 4 days, which was pretty impressive, I think. So tomorrow we fly to Spain and explore the city of Madrid. We will be staying there roughly around 4 days as well. So to sum up my experience here in London, I would say I had a good time. The city is rich with history and culture, but not so much on the food. Well, at least our last meal made up for it in some way.